Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Today's Tuesday, June 29th. The year is 2021. Current time is 14:43 in New York City. How y'all doing? It's night. What's the temperature right now? Last I checked. Let me give you an updated temperature. Hot, Jedi Joy says 97 degrees right now. It is 97 degrees in Manhattan.
It's insane here.
With a 20% chance of rain coming up, so that means the humidity is pretty high. Okay, real quick. You guys know that Jedi Joy and I kind of discovered a really simple diet, and it's very, very, very restrictive in the sense where we don't consume anything but organic beef and mineral water. And occasionally I'll eat chicken like every few months or so if I want to get fat, or I'll add a little mustard if I feel like I just cannot be any leaner right now. But the fact is that if you want to lose weight, this is it. There's no other secret. There's no other secret. There's nothing else. And the reason why I'm coming on here is because I was watching some Clash videos and stuff. And when you watch those Clash videos, what happens is that they'll put in ads. And the ads that were coming up were people's, not even ads, they were shows about trying to tell us about losing weight. And here's what strikes me as odd. Why would you listen to somebody about losing weight who isn't thin? It baffles me. So anyway, so that's kind of what that was about. So here's the secret right here: ground beef, 93 organic from Whole Foods. There, I'll let you know that. But now here's the next thing. We're walking around Times Square today, and Times Square, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they've had some shootings down here, and so they beefed up the police force and everything. And there's a lot of tourists down there, and we were looking around, and we were kind of seeing people were looking around for places to eat. And what we noticed was that all the small little restaurants, all the little individual restaurants and bodegas and stores and everything have been replaced with fast food. And when I say fast food, it's not just like McDonald's and Arby's, although those are the traditional fast foods, but all the other food suppliers get their food from very similar methods or similar suppliers as those fast food restaurants. So the food that you're getting at, like, I don't know, I can't think of the brand names here, but they just have all these different names. They look a little fancier. They're like, what is that? Like, for example, Chipotle or whatever. You kind of feel like it's going to be healthier,
Yeah.
but really it's the same. It's fast food. That's what your parents would consider fast food. If you go to Applebee's, anything you order there, your parents would consider that fast food. It's the same stuff that you get in the restaurants as you get in the...
Same with like these small little sandwich shops. People think, oh, this is a mom and pop sandwich shop. They're not getting like organics. They're getting the same crap everyone's getting. Whereas they make your homemade. They act like homemade means it's like healthier. But like they still just buy the crappy meat and crappy cheese and crappy bread and slap it together.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not organic stuff. But it's like, oh, but it was homemade. It's like,
right.
Okay.
Right. So what we're saying is, and what happened is that it's the ingredients in the food. It's not the restaurant, and it's not how you prepare it, and it's not the actual type of food, although that does come into play. But it's the source of your ingredients that are making you get fat and are making you not be able to digest your foods, because they all come from the same place. It's fast food. It's like a frozen sort of process. Very, very, very few
It's
places.
all processed food.
All processed foods in restaurants. It's what your parents would and grandparents would consider fast food.
See, back in the day, what your grandparents and maybe your parents, depending on the age, but probably more like your grandparents, what we consider now organics was regular food then. But now they've done so much to the food with antibiotics, steroids, hormones, all kinds of things, additives, adding sugar to everything. Now the food is so bad that you have to eat organics to eat the way your grandparents just ate naturally.
Right. So we were watching a show, it was an old show from the 50s for kids, showing them how chickens, how people got their eggs. The way they got their eggs in a traditional farm, conventional farming, was they were free range. They ran around. They were just like the way that we have these special like
like now we say cage-free, pasture-raised,
right.
grass-fed.
They have 200.
All these things. That's the way it always was before.
So that's why the organic thing never shifted to my dad because he was used to, hey man, I'm fine with the eggs here because he knew the farmers, and he was right. And this is my next point. So what happened is that so like in a place like New York City where you have a lot of bodegas and you have a lot of different restaurants, and the ingredients were being supplied by all sorts of different places. That's why when you went to Little Italy, the food was very, very different than just down the street, which was in Chinatown. If you went to Chinatown, I mean that food was coming from the Chinese suppliers, and they bought from their people. And if you went to like to the Irish bars, they bought from their Irish people, and so forth and so forth. And the farmers bought from their farmers. So if I'm a shop owner in New York City, and you come into my store and it says Light Towler on it, okay, you know that those tomatoes are going to be the best tomatoes that I could possibly get. And if I didn't have tomatoes, that meant tomatoes were out of season. So if you saw somebody else carrying tomatoes, you might be able to buy them, like scratch your head, be like, where are you getting them? You know? So
yeah, like you trusted
the grocer, you trusted the buyer, you trusted the chef, you trusted the owner. So when the big conglomerates came into town and they wanted to put out the little guys like the Towlers because they had all this fresh food, the only way they could beat them is on price. And the way they got the cheaper price was that they brought in the processed foods. And now the processed foods were cheaper, but everyone knew that the best produce was at Light Towlers. So Light Towlers was still a booming business, and you'd only go to maybe to the processed United Grocery store if Light Towlers was closed or it was a Sunday because we don't open on Sundays. We want to have one day off a week.
He really did have a store called Towlers.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. So anyway,
he had a market called Towlers.
Right, but we're talking more fictional now. We're just kind of hypothetical. But in my head, but yeah. So but yeah, it was a great store.
It was a great store. I bought produce from there all the time.
Anyway.
And my Skittles.
So,
and my Starbucks.
But you knew that I handpicked
and my beer.
That I got my food from the best suppliers, which I did. It was organics, and I got it from Seattle, and I'm da-da-da-da.
Yeah, the best.
So, and it was very similar here in New York City. You had all these different farmers. Some of them were good, some of them sucked. But you knew that if you went to Light Towlers, that he knew the best farmers, and he knew the ones that had the best produce, the best time of the year, and he knew what to buy. He'd been doing it for years. His dad ran it before him. So you knew to go there. If someone came up with a cheaper idea, you really scratch your head because you knew that Light Towlers giving you a fair price. So, that said, the big conglomerates could not compete with the tiny little bodegas in New York City because it wasn't just Light Towlers, there was tons of them. Everybody had the thing, and everyone in their own little neighborhood. Couldn't put them out of business. And so what they did was they started lowering the prices, and then they started putting the farms out of business. And when they put the farms out of business,
farms couldn't supply.
The farmers couldn't supply, so they started buying the farms. When they bought the farms, then they started supplying the farms with their Monsanto seed. You Google it, Monsanto. It was the first genetically approved seed in the United States in 1985.
They ruined it all.
Well, that's part of the issue why we're all getting fat and addicted to the food. Yes, because it tastes so good. It's genetically modified. They genetically made the food to taste better.
Well, the biggest thing they add is sugar. That's what makes everything taste better too.
Okay.
Most of the stuff add sugar to almost everything. Things that we found one time a sugar substitute. It was stevia that they literally added sugar to a sugar substitute. I was like, one of the ingredients was sugar.
Right, and you'll find sugar in all sorts of things. You'll find sugar in toothpaste. Mm-hmm. In fact, they had think about that for a second. They used to put sugar into toothpaste until they decided, maybe we should take the sugar out. And they started putting saccharin. They still put
you guys, if you don't realize why that's significant, is because sugar is the primary reason we have dentists. If you don't eat sugar, you'd have pretty nice teeth. Me and Jedi Rich have destroyed our teeth because we ate so much sugar as we were younger. But now we don't consume any sugar, and our teeth are bad if we were still eating sugar, we would be in serious trouble because we don't have dental insurance. But the fact we don't eat sugar, our teeth are able to like maintain and not get significantly worse. But sugar is the primary problem for any tooth problems, tooth decay, cavities, anything. It's all because you eat sugar.
Right. So one of the things we're talking about here is
that's why dentists didn't exist way back and people were fine.
Right.
It wasn't
How come
until
dentists didn't exist
you had sugar
until
that
just
we had to
100
have
years ago.
tons of dentistry, and that you can actually now die if you don't deal with your dental issues sometimes, because the pain can get so severe and there can be like you can get infections and things, but it's all from eating sugar.
Right. So anyway, basically the whole key of the diet is you just stop eating the sugar, you kick the sugar habits.
No sugar
At
all.
And no one wants to hear that.
Everyone's so addicted, and it gives them so much euphoria
Mm-hmm.
and pleasure, and also it substitutes sex a lot. So a lot of people that are sexually repressed are using food as substitutes. So especially people that are lonely, it's very hard if you don't have someone, then you use food to fill your needs, because it can fill your it can make you happy, it can give you euphoria, it can literally fill your sexual needs. Like they found that you can have the same you get about the same euphoria from eating something as you do from having sex, but you actually long term it's not going to have the same. But like in the instant moment, someone will go, should I have a piece of cake or have sex? Then they can feel the same euphoria, but then long term the cake makes them fat, sluggish, depressed, and they ultimately want to kill themselves, whereas having sex will make you feel great. You'll actually not want to eat usually after you feel more like you want to be active after
Yes.
sex, and you feel energized.
So we just want to kind of jump on here, and we talk about our diet, the reason why we eat our diet, and also if you look on television, the actors are getting fatter. They're getting fatter. They're getting bigger, and check. It's a way for better health. Yeah. Check out Dr. Berg for a way for better health, for sure, man. Whatever, but the fact is there's a lot. I think health is the issue moving forward for this generation, 2021.
And people don't see it.
They don't see it
that
yet.
Fat is healthy. We got this weird misconception that fat is healthy. You guys, that is so ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying go around and offend people if they're fat and call them fat. That's not what I'm saying. But there's no way fat is healthy.
That is not healthy. And there's also another misconception. I ran a poll on Twitter, and I said, hey, if two people about the same size, same activity, were to eat the same foods, proportionally, I eat whatever I eat, she eats till she's full, and we ate the same thing for a year, would we be the same weight, or would one of us be fatter or thinner? And everyone said that the female should be fatter than the male. Everyone wants to believe that if we ate the same foods, that it's natural for her to be fatter. The truth of the matter is that she's thinner, that she's naturally smaller.
So here's why people think that.
Because females are just naturally smaller than males, just so you know. Yeah. They naturally are smaller. Yeah. So they'd never be fatter if they're in the same conditions. Yeah. So the fact that we have made females fatter is because, they're kind of
I'll tell you
they're
why.
oppressed.
No, I'll tell you why females tend to be fatter in current society is because females were told to eat things like fruits and veggies instead of meat often.
Okay.
Like how often
Perfect
is a woman told to eat a salad instead of the meat?
Right.
Well, the meat is what
there
she was supposed to be eating. And
there are two sets of rules for girls.
The women became vegetarians and vegans more often than the men. Now everyone's becoming one. Whatever.
No, but that's very interesting.
And the women tended to also eat more sugar in the sense of women are told to eat chocolate and things on your period, and they're given on your period eat whatever you want. Like you're encouraged to if you don't feel well, just eat sweets and that'll make you feel better. Where guys are not often told that.
Ever. Well, two things. The reason why guys aren't told to eat sugar or candy when they're feeling bad, or ice cream, you don't take the guys out for ice cream when they yeah, right. So the thing is because as Jedi Joy was trying to say,
You're saying you don't take you guys upside down.
yeah, you kind of did. Hold on, just put that there. Stop moving for a second.
Let me just walk away. I'm done.
Well, no, stay here without
No.
fucking be part of the thing without being here.
But I'm done now. I'm not gonna
Okay,
sit
she
there.
just dumps the stuff off, then she leaves. That's my problem. I was going to say something that I needed her to be a part of, and now she can't. I wanted her to listen to it, but never mind. You know. Anyways, we're sorry guys. We're just learning how to do this live thing. So she's kind of learning how to. So she didn't mean to walk away, but do you want to come over here and finish this, or are you done?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty much done. I mean,
Okay, then never mind then.